journey began as a result of love. Would you call your relationship with Osho unrequited?
He was also very much in love with me. You haven't got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Maa Anand Sheela. I just want to say that having interviewed several personalities for the last 15 years, I don't think I've ever been this excited because I've never been this intrigued.
Bhagwan also mentioned that I knew that Sheela was in love and she is still in love, but I don't give a shit.
Of different opinions on my back.
It's interesting, Sheela, that when we read about you, there is such an extreme volley of opinions that have surrounded you. I mean, you've been shrouded by controversy, by scandal, by questions, pretty much for most of your life.
That how can people deal with public failure and actual criticism and being misunderstood? So hello viewers, right now I am in a conversation with Maa Anand Sheela. You must be knowing her because of the documentary which is Finding Sheela on Netflix, and she has been secretary of Bhagwan Osho, right? So ma'am, I just want to know your journey because I have seen your I guess more than 15 podcast and you have explained your journey. So please share your journey, and so that viewers can understand that how many years you have served as a secretary and when did you write your first book. So tell me your journey, ma'am.
It was a long journey. It is still a long journey today as I sit here. And it has been very intense and interesting journey. It is one of a kind. There is no duplicate here.
Right.
Possible.
So ma'am, I just want to make a title to the viewers that viewers, there are so many aspects, but people are focusing only on scam. And in today's session, the chat will be a little bit different. We will talk about few another aspect of Rajneeshpuram too, because ma'am, people are only focusing on one thing, right? They don't talk about so many good things that has been taken place in that ashram, right? So I have got an opportunity to talk with you today, and I want to ask you to begin with that how your love affair with Bhagwan Osho started. I mean, was it a love at first sight, or what was the feeling when you first time saw Bhagwan, right?
It was love, not just first sight, every sight that I have lived with him for 14 years. Every time I see him, I fall more and more and more in love with him. It was, one could say, love at first sight. I cannot remove the telephone from here. Okay. I hope you don't mind telephone technology, you know?
Right, I understood.
Love is a remarkable event. It is a very special feeling. It may happen on the first sight. It may happen on subsequent sights. Mine was ever growing. First time I saw, I felt if my life comes to an end, I'm ready for it. The next moment, it was, I can live forever for this man.
Right.
And it has been very inspirational, very creative, and give me a lot of strength to move forward.
Right. Ma'am, there are two perceptions about Bhagwan Osho, that the people who love him madly, like they consider everything, that Bhagwan is everything, teacher, mentor, partner, right, friend. And on the other hand, the another perception or notion people made, that he talks lot about physical intimacy, like sex and all. But I don't find any bad stuff. Like, if somebody is teaching you the integral part of life, then why people are hating him, right? So what are your opinion on this?
Bhagwan was a man you cannot ignore.
Hmm.
Either you love him or you hate him, but you cannot ignore him. And that was his strength. That was his charisma. That you look at him and you cannot forget him. You either have to be with him or run away from him as fast as you can. And I know many people in my time, we all remained with him. We all were ready to work hard and enjoy what was going on around him.
So, ma'am, you have spent more than a decade with him. So, and you have always been against of spirituality and meditation. So why it?
Right.
And why do you not believe in meditation, like sitting hours silently?
I don't need to.
But
I'm happy as I am.
right. But what is the one thing that actually pushes you back to trust on spirituality? That no, man. I mean, it is of no use of sitting long hours, right?
For me, it has no use. I don't have to particularly be spiritual or not spiritual. These are not my criteria. I want to live life. And I learned to live life near Bhagwan. I did not go to learn meditation. I did not go to him for spirituality. I went to him because I fell in love with him. It is totally different.
And ma'am, do you believe that Osho was not a spiritual person, right? He's not at all a religious person.
I have no reason to say that or believe that. I did not go to him because he was spiritual or non-spiritual. He was simply a beautiful man that I fell in love with.
Means it has nothing to do with the spirituality and meditation. You just fell in love.
No, no.
No, because there are a lot of quotations there that if you want to have a peace in your mind, then you should do meditation. Then, ma'am, I want to ask that if somebody is not getting peace from meditation, or I mean, doesn't believe in all these kind of stuff, right? These kind of activity of sitting long hours, then what are the actually the other sources of getting peace? I mean, except these two things, right?
Well, I don't, in the first place, as far as I'm concerned, I don't need peace. Just life itself is a beautiful, peaceful event for me. What comes in life, I accept it and move on, so there is no chaos or there is no disturbance by it. Yeah, sometimes it has some practical difficulties. But that is not an issue that I brag about or worry about. For me, life is as it comes. And life is what my choices are in life. And if somebody needs peace of mind and they think they get it through meditation, by all means, try it out. Maybe it may be sport that you feel gives you peace, then go play.
So you are basically saying that it is not, I mean, there is not a permanent answer to it, that you will get peace by doing this. It is it could be different from different people. Like somebody is getting peace by working hard, somebody is getting peace by watching movies. So it may be differ, right?
Well, if having peace is their goal, then they should follow what brings them peace. I was with Bhagwan without a goal, and I fell in love with him. Then I enjoyed being around him. And I had the opportunity to be around him as he chose me to be his personal secretary.
So ma'am, Bhagwan also, I mean, Bhagwan used to be seem like very peaceful. I mean, his eyes were very, very steady, like sthir. So many people have illusion in their mind that he must be sitting for long hours, like he must be doing yogas and all. And you have been with him so closely, like you have been interacting with him, you have been managing the entire Rajneeshpuram you have built. You have seen him very closely, you have observed. So did you ever find him, I mean, meditating or doing yogas and all? So that, I mean,
No,
how?
I have never found him meditating or doing yoga or anything like that. I have seen him more sitting in his chair than sitting with in a lotus position or something like that. I have never seen him that way. And whether he does meditation or not is not the issue. But he has created some techniques of meditation. They are helpful to mankind.
Right.
It doesn't say that it will give you peace of mind, but it is helpful to your psychological, mental, and physical health. And if you have good health, you will be at a peace.
Right. So, ma'am, I want to ask you very interrelated question with this, that Bhagwan was not believing, I mean, doing meditation and all and yogas, but he has created some practices. So, I mean, did you ever gone through those practice, or you haven't even tried?
No, I haven't. And I would not even today. I don't need it. If I need it, I would go and do it. But for me, it was not. For me, looking at him
Was a meditation.
and drowning in his eyes was more beautiful than anything else that was around me.
So, ma'am, do you think that there is any specific or particular definition of love, like the way you fell in love with Bhagwan, or do you think that there is a that or it came just automatically? I mean, you saw him or you fell in love, right?
Love
What?
happens when you have no choice. Love is a happening. Love is a feeling. You cannot create that feeling artificially. When I fell in love with him, I fell in love with him. And there are no boundaries. There are no limitations. You simply are in love. And you feel beautiful inside, outside, when that feeling is there in you.
So did you
It
ever
is a positive force.
positive force, right? So, ma'am, did you ever feel love with someone else after Bhagwan?
Oh, I fall in love every day. I fell in love with my dog, my rabbits. I fall in love with my people around me.
But
What does
the way you feel in love,
what it does? It is a positive feeling in you, and you become available for the other there to help them. I work with my handicapped people. We live together. I'm there for them. They are there for me. And we have a wonderful communication, harmonious relationship. And we have a very positive lifestyle. For me, that is more important than meditating or being spiritual.
so ma'am, I have seen your podcasts, and you have mentioned, frequently that you have not watched Wild Wild Country, right?
Right.
But
I have still not watched it.
so why? I mean, don't you have?
I have lived that life. What more wild country can offer me? I can tell you about my wild life. Not wild country can tell you about it.
But ma'am, you have lived a wild life, but they are trying to fabricate another story. They have fabricated, like they have portrayed you in different perspectives. So I mean, did you ever feel kind of that, do you feel offended that he has not shown the actually original stuff, or he's trying to spread negative things about me and all? So did you ever feel kind of?
But have they succeeded? That is my question. They feel negative, they portray negativity. I feel positive, I portray positivity. And I do not need their stamp of approval on my life and my life's events. I live my life, they live their life. They do what they want to do, I do what I want to do.
Right. Ma'am, I want to ask you one thing, that you have built Rajneeshpuram. So tell the viewers the story, that for the first place. I mean, how did you get this idea, and when Bhagwan, did he express to you or kind of interpreted you that now it is the right time to take initiative of building another big ashram, because there are a lot of communes, people are coming from different cities, or actually countries, so they need big space. So did he offer you an idea to build this, or you just get this idea by being?
People don't understand one simple thing. To live in a communal lifestyle, Bhagwan had spoken about it for years. It was his dream to create a community of people around him from different countries, different nationalities, different languages, religion, traditions, live in harmony. That was his dream. And he was receiving in Pune ashram. He was before Pune in Bombay, in a small apartment. People were coming from all over the world to visit him, listen to his wisdom. It became a problem for the neighbors that all kinds of people are coming to this apartment building in Bombay. So Bhagwan moved from there to Pune. But it was the same story. So Bhagwan had a little more bigger space than Bombay, but it was no longer possible to accommodate the amount of people were coming. We tried to find a bigger place in India, but it was an emergency, national emergency, political emergency. So you could not buy or sell properties then under the law. So then one day I suggested to Bhagwan, why don't we go to US? US is a big country. There is a lot of space there. So he said, okay, you arrange, Sheela. So I
You went there.
We went to US. I took Bhagwan to US and found a land and started organizing. But it was Bhagwan's experiment. It was Bhagwan's way to tell the future generation, this is what you will need in future. Harmony of individuals in spite of all differences. There is nothing sinister. It was a very noble thought, noble idea of Bhagwan.
Ma'am, it was a noble idea, right? People believe that it started with for a mankind intention, but then it became a sex hub.
People say all kinds of nonsense. I hear so-called people giving their
Opinions.
what they know of Bhagwan and how Bhagwan said this and that. I know the reality. These people were never near Bhagwan before. But they are the expert. They are cashing in on Bhagwan. And that's sad. That's not nice.
Right. Ma'am, when I was watching Osho's interview, then Bhagwan mentioned that when I got addicted with drugs, then Sheela was not there and all, and she was not my secretary. I had removed him. So what do you think, or actually what happened exactly? Was by actually Americans he got addicted with drugs and all? And why didn't you try to pull him out from this addiction? You should came back from you. I mean, you should have came back from America.
You know, you read my autobiography, Don't Kill Him. I have written in all detail about it. And what Bhagwan says, it is good of him to say whatever he wants to say. It doesn't affect me.
But if somebody is calling
And
to,
what I say about Bhagwan is my thing. That doesn't affect him.
right,
And Bhagwan can say and do what he wants to do. He was a man of intelligence, man of his own mind. What is there to say?
right. So, ma'am, why did you leave the commune?
I left him because he was being influenced and experimenting with drugs. So I explained to him as his secretary how dangerous
Taking drugs.
this act is, and he told me to stay out of it, ignore it. And I could not ignore it, could not stay out of it, while as his secretary, it was my job to protect him, his commune, and his teachings. If I ignore, I could not do that. So that's when I decided to leave.
So, ma'am, Bhagwan also mentioned that I knew that Sheila was in love and she is still in love, but I don't give a shit if she fell in love, and because I didn't give a shit, so this is why she has done all this stuff and all. She went there, scams and all. So, do you? What do you think?
Look, I said earlier,
Mm.
he has right to say what he wants to say. And I have no objection of him saying anything,
Right.
good, bad, or ugly. He can say it. I give him full freedom to say it.
Right. Right, ma'am. Ma'am, I have seen your like lots of podcasts and which are available in on YouTube and actually internet, right? Your communication speak, your communication skills are really incredible. So, would you like to give some tips to youngsters who want to have a tight grip upon their negotiation skills, communication skills, how to communicate, to build a harmonious, relationship with in personal and professional life?
When you communicate, when the words come out of your mouth, they have to be processed in your brain, and you have to choose the right words for your communication. So you have to be clear what you want to communicate, why you want to communicate, and how you want to communicate. So this clarity has to be processed for the good end result. And it is very important that one communicates in a fashion that the other can understand. That means your pronunciation, your enunciation has to be clear for others to understand.
I have seen your media interviews of 20 years or actually 15 years back when media people and news channels was interviewing you in ashram. So the way you answered them and the way you used words to actually, you are master at words, I believe. So,
No, master at words was my boss, my lover, Bhagwan. Master of words was a man that I loved incredibly. And he is the one who has been where I have learned to talk. Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh was the master.
right. So, ma'am, do you believe, Sheila ma'am, that companionship plays a massive role in getting success in anyone's life? Because you have been in companion of Bhagwan Osho, and your surroundings. So, what do you think that how a company, you know, can help us to build a mindset, and what is the meaning of companionship?
No, your questions are confused. You haven't done your homework well.
Ma'am, I am asking that companionship, like in Hindi, we
No,
say,
you're asking me about companionship, but you were talking about words and success before.
right. Because, ma'am, I believe.
So now you need to be clear. Are you talking about success or are you talking about companionship? They are two different events.
I'm talking about, ma'am, companionship.
Success in life, as we understand, average person understands, is in achievement, achieving a goal. Companionship belongs to a relationship. Two different subjects. Now you make up your mind and ask what you want to ask.
Tell me, ma'am, about companionship.
Okay. Companionship is a relationship, emotional, physical, and worldly. Are you talking about marriage or non-marriage relationship?
I'm talking about, ma'am, non-marriage, relationship.
Okay. Non-marriage relationship, for it to develop and fulfill, you have to be having a contact with a person in all freedom, without expectations. As long as you maintain your relationship in freedom, it will function well. But the moment you start creating boundaries of jealousy, boundaries of restrictions, it will go haywire and relationship will be unhealthy. Now, in a work situation, you want to have a relationship with your team or your subordinates. It has to be done with great respect. You cannot control them.
Right.
You have to have relationships even with your team and your subordinates with much respect and freedom. When I say freedom, what do I mean? Freedom is something where you take responsibility of given task or your work-related issues, or what your goal is. You must have their very clear perception of where you're going, how you're going, and when are you going. When you have that clear, then relationship will function and your project or your work situation will improve.
So you have explained in very depth about companionship and how more important it is to build relationship with subordinates and teams. So, ma'am, the another thing that I asked you before, which is how success plays. I mean,
I didn't hear you correct. How success?
how success is being impacted by companionship.
I don't understand your question.
Like,
Indebted? What is that?
like, ma'am, there are numbers, lot of numbers of successful people like Bill Gates and many more entrepreneurs. They have, quotation in their mind like companionship plays huge role in being successful. Like, if we have good companionship, then it can impact our mind, our activities, our habits. So, in that manner, I have asked you.
Good relationship is not just based on a relationship. It is based on you, how you treat your companion, how you behave with your companion, and how you respect your companion.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the other. It is a question of you. How you perceive your companion is. If you perceive your companion with disrespect, then disrespect is what you will get. There are no results then. Think of good result is far away.
Yeah.
And to achieve something, it is your goal, not your companion's goal. You understand? So you are confusing yourself. You think you're asking me very important question, very well thought question. No. When you want to do something, you have to begin. You have to show your caliber. Then worry about companion.
Right. Ma'am, one thing I want to say, you are very different because the way you have explained these things are not written in any books, and but it is very practical. It is real thing that actually people perceive or they go through in their life. This is the actual, the main thing that they feel and they see in their life, but it is not written in any books. So there is a question from my viewer Harshita. She wanna ask that, do you have any idea in your mind to write another book? About.
Yes, I am in the process of writing right now.
You are in process of writing. And ma'am, one question I wanna ask you: how can individuals balance power and influence and responsibility without losing their sense of self?
First, you have to have depth to lose it. Where is the depth right now? What are you going to lose? Right now, you have nothing to lose. First, you have to achieve something, understand something, and then you can think of losing it. but you haven't achieved yet. How are you going to lose it? When you don't have it, you're worried about losing it. First get it, and then you worry about losing it.
Wonderfully you have explained, ma'am. And ma'am, with interrelating with this question, I want to ask that how can people deal with public failure and actually criticism and being misunderstood, right? Because in these days, because of social media trolling, the people who haven't done even bad bad things, then their own viewers, their own friends, and the people make edits and they actually criticize them. So how can youngsters and anyone can deal with criticism and public fear and all and being misunderstood, Sheila?
Why do you have to worry about criticism? If somebody criticizes, it's their problem, not your problem. Why do you take the criticism personally? Nobody tells you, but you want the public to say you are wonderful, you are great. Then they will also say, criticize you wrongly, negatively. Then you accept that. People should not depend on others' opinion, especially young people. You should know, you should feel and think about yourself. Why do you waste your time reading trash other people's mind? You don't have to. Nobody wants you to. And if somebody will laugh at you that you didn't listen to their critique, you laugh back. Or walk away. But you don't know yourself who you are. You're not clear about yourself. Where will you have the strength to say something to others? You mind your business, they should mind their business.
Very simply, you have explained the real dark truth, and people really should not take criticism as something which can harm them. So it is really practical thing you have explained, ma'am, and the youngsters should really understand this. And actually, on a personal note, I remember when we had a previous podcast, then you also taught me a lesson to work upon questions and all, and I didn't take it as a criticism, I take it as a learning, and I worked. And then, yeah, you have explained in very nicely that they are doing their work, why should we care? We should do our own work, right?
Exactly.
And ma'am, the another question which is coming from Akash, which is, what would you say to someone who feels trapped by their circumstances or past actions? Right.
They have to face it and move forward.
They have to face
Take
it.
responsibility. Mistake happens to everybody, but it is no reason to hide yourself because of it. Yeah, you made a mistake. Be honorable, accept it, and move forward.
Right. And ma'am, how can a youngster improve communication to create more harmonious and personal and professional relationship in their business, in their company, or in their colleagues, right? And this question is coming from an MBA student who is doing a master's in business administration. Right?
Learn to respect others. When you respect others, then you can communicate better. Don't argue, explain. Don't start angry talking, but take the person and respectfully explain what you mean. Then communication will open up itself. We are creatures who put others down constantly to look better.
Right.
Then there is no possibility of communication. People have to learn to be respectful.
Right. And ma'am, the another question which is coming from a student who wants to be a public speaker, a motivational speaker, but he is 16 years old. And because he has seen your many public speaking interviews and videos, you have faced long crowds, like thousands of crowds. So what would be your suggestions from your experience, that how to confront, you know, fear of crowd in basically public speaking?
Fear of crowd comes from fear of making mistakes. He should not worry about making mistake. He wants to be a speaker. Age has nothing to do with it. Sometimes young people have more clarity than older people. And he should listen to people like Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh,
Right.
who have been great orators, and move forward.
And ma'am, the another question which is coming from Sheetal Das from Singapore. She wants to ask you that she actually wants to ask you that what is the magic behind your beauty?
Love. In love, every person looks beautiful. Remain in love with life, and you will feel the beauty of life.
But ma'am, in love with whom? Like in love with studies or goals?
Existence, it doesn't have to be just a person. You can be loving towards a tree. You can fall in love with the sky. You can fall in love with your dog. There are no boundaries. You can be loving towards a person on the street. And love doesn't mean it has anything to do with possession or sexuality. Love is having positive feelings. Love is a sort of worship of positivity.
Right. And ma'am, the another question which is coming from Akash. He wants to ask you is what message would you like to share with young leaders and entrepreneurs navigating today's world of complexity and competition?
One very basic value the young leaders have to have is respect for your fellow being. Respect for your supporter. Respect for your cause. Learn to look at other at the same eye level. Don't look down upon people. Look at the same way you would look at yourself or would like others to look at you. You offer the others what you wish for yourself. That kind of generosity develop in your character. When you have done that, you have automatic achievement.
Right. So viewers, your all questions I have asked to Maa Sheela ma'am, and she has answered in very simple and but very practical ways. It is very practical insights not mentioned in any books. But I wish that Sheila ma'am's new coming book will mention all these things. So ma'am, what will be your book about?
I don't know yet. When I finish it, you will know it.
Right. And ma'am, I'm sure that whatever the insights and chapters you will include will be very fruitful for youngsters actually, because you have written 2 books, right, on your biopics, right?
Right.
Yeah, but these, so will this be on your biopic, or it will be like life lessons and all?
I don't know, but my 2 books, they are both available at Amazon. One is called Don't Kill Him,
Right.
and second book is By My Own Rules.
So viewers, I will add 2 books link in the description so that you can go at Amazon and have it, because as you can as you have heard Maa Sheela ma'am so far in the podcast, she is very clear, very clear. Whatever she speaks with clarity, and that actually makes sense, not just theoretical that you will read and you will follow. These are very practical stuff. So Sheila ma'am, on a personal note, I want to ask that what is your advice for me?
You have long road ahead of you. Work hard. Try to analyze where you are and what you want to be, and accordingly you progress.
Thank you, and I will surely do, because you are my
Right.
inspiration.
So now I'm going to say goodbye to you and your viewers.
Right.
Okay.
So thank you, ma'am. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronak.